Good morning, YouTubers. T Square with T Square Talks. Hope everybody's having a great day. Today, I am going to be talking about gold and silver, kind of doing a little bit of a small recap on what we had showed yesterday. And then I'm going to go on into a couple different stories that I want to talk about today, including a little bit of Bitcoin versus gold and silver. If you enjoyed today's video, please help me out by hitting that thumbs up button. I feel pretty bad about yesterday. So yesterday, I actually forgot. I don't know if I forgot or if I hit it and it didn't take, but it didn't transfer the computer screen. So you got stuck looking at the clip of free money all day for the whole video. And so I was kind of beat up a little bit about it. I honestly didn't know what to do because it was so late when I found out. I mean, here I am at almost 5:40 in the morning, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, man, why did that all come up as thumbnail choices? And then all of a sudden, I was like looking at the video, and I was like, oh, no, I felt so bad. So I apologize for that, those of you guys that did see that video. It was still a good talk. Unfortunately, you just didn't get to see the charts and graphs. And so I do want to touch on some of them a little bit real quick, show you guys a little bit about what we had talked about yesterday, but show you kind of in quick thought. And then I also want to talk about Bitcoin today, because now they want to start new Bitcoin-backed loans. So if you have Bitcoin, you don't have to sell it. You can borrow money against it, and where I think that could end up going. So with that being said, please hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, and leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts. So jumping right in, let's take a quick look at the price of silver. Right now we got silver trading at $30.31. As we go into the weekend, not really much of a big move at all. Also have gold trading at $2,702. Not really any big moves today. We saw it go down actually just a little bit, but nothing I'm worried about at all. Taking a quick look, I wanted to recap on this. This was the actual rise of the US dollar. This is something we talked about yesterday, but you guys didn't get to see this chart, and I really love this chart because it's a video that actually shows how the pound sterling pretty much slowly got replaced. The gold mark, the French franc, and then others. These were the main currencies back in 1903. But what's really cool to watch is how the dollar grows, and then towards the end, which is now, the dollar just isn't really getting used quite as much. In fact, the dollar now has fallen back all the way to approximately 50% of all world's trade. And so, I mean, less banks are holding it, and I think that's kind of important to realize because it's a trend that we are on a downward trend. Now, have we been on downtrends before? Yes, and usually something major happens, and after some major event, like a war or something, then the U.S. all of a sudden pops back up, and so who knows? We're going to see. We also see it come down, obviously, in events like the dot-com bubble, the housing financial crisis, and everything. So with that being said, I'm just going to play this real quick, and you guys can see this is a pie chart, and then this over here you have your actual currencies that come into play and out of play. Now what I want you to take from that is the countries that are our allies and what happens to their currencies in that same time frame, because you will see countries like Australia, Canada, Europe, all of a sudden gain more momentum as this plays out. So you start off at 1904, 1905. I really like this. I think it's a cool, I guess, chart the way they did it, because you get to see it month by month and how it changes and expands all the way to, there's the US dollar right there. So the US dollar just comes on set out of nowhere, and all of a sudden it's getting used for a lot of world trade, and people are holding these. So taking a look at 1918, you're only at 14%. I'm sorry, at 4% in 1918. But watch how quick it kind of grows. But as this is happening, you also can be watching the other countries, and you can actually play it back a little bit and see what's happening, because countries do come and go in terms of the usage of their currency. And unfortunately, I believe right now that's kind of what we're seeing. We're seeing the US dollar get used less and less. Now, whether that's because of tariffs, whether that's because of people not liking us, whether that's for whatever the reason, a lot of people are wondering, is this just a pullback, or is this the big thing? Are we going to, eventually lose the US dollar as the world reserve currency? And some people will say it's not technically a big deal, but I believe it is. And I can't, some people, you're just never going to get them to admit, what they're the truth. So this is about as high as it gets. It gets up to 84, which was really interesting. I'm going to pause it just for a quick second. Gets up to about 84.7 in actually 72. It's hard to get it to stop on the exact. So 84.8 in 1970. Now this is where it does start going down. It picks up a little bit, but then it starts coming back down again. So we're going to continue playing it. And now that you have the Japanese yen coming into picture, the Swiss franc, obviously the European currency, and now we're in the 80s, 90s. Now you saw it go down a little bit, and then it started picking back up. But all of a sudden, it's about ready to start the real bad part. Never really got back up to its high, though. And now it's just dwindling downhill. And what's interesting is where they stop this. They stop it in like 22. And they don't show 23 and 24 because it's not pretty. 23 and 24, it continued to pretty much get dropped around the world. So, and there it lies. So, actually, let's see. I want to make sure I paused it. Okay. Because I want to go down and just read a couple things. So down to 58 here. However, it's actually 50% now if you look that up. So as the world's reserve currency, the U.S. dollar made up 58.4% of foreign reserves held by central banks in 2022, falling to a 25-year low. Now, this was in 22. Now we're actually at a 27-year low because it's still falling. And you have to kind of wonder, where is this going to go? Is it going to continue to go down or what? So I talked a lot about this yesterday. I don't want to drag it out for the people that actually heard all about this yesterday. You didn't get to see the chart, but I wanted to still show it. The other thing was I found this kind of comical only because we talked a lot about what currencies, what bills, what denominations are out there. This was the $100,000 bill. Most people didn't get to see it unless you just saw the thumbnail of the video yesterday. But there's actually a 500, a 1,000, which a lot of people do know about that if you're a collector. But there's also 5,000s, 10,000s, and even 100,000. Now, what was interesting about the $100,000 note is it only got circulated in 34 and 35, and a lot of that was to give to the banks. The banks were the only ones, the Federal Reserves were the only ones that actually got these. And the reason they got them was because they were turning their gold over to the Treasury, and the Treasury was giving them these back. So I found that kind of interesting, and I wanted people to see what it looked like. I would not be surprised. I read some comments about them possibly bringing back the $500 and the $1,000 notes. I would not be surprised to see that happen as well. Possibly even start using some of these bigger notes down the road, the 5,000, the 10,000, and maybe even roll back out the $100,000 note in a new series. However, a lot of that is going to be to suck up currency of the inflation that we are seeing. We are seeing a debasement of money that's unreal. And once you understand what's happening, you can start to prepare. But if you're still in denial about what's happening, it's crazy. Take a look at this. This is just a little clip. I can't remember why I pulled it, but I found it so funny when I found it, so I wanted to kind of show it.
There it is! It's beautiful! Take your hat off, boy. That's a $1 bill.
I just thought that was funny and had to share it. So, moving on, though, I want to talk about, where is it? Right here. Coinbase launching Bitcoin-backed loans. Basically, if you buy Bitcoin, you can buy some Bitcoin, and then you can take a loan out against it. Now, what does this do when you think about it? So, at first, some people might be like, well, that makes it to where people can use their Bitcoin and spend it. and borrow it. So obviously Coinbase wants Bitcoins if they're willing to back the currency against it. However, what it also is going to do is allow people to put money into Bitcoin, hope that it goes up, and then borrow the money right back off of it instantly. Now, this is almost creating, in my opinion, a loop that they're basically creating a need for it. However, you also have to understand, what is this going to do down the road long term? At quick thoughts, I don't think this is good, because there's a few different things that can play out here. You know, if all of a sudden Bitcoin takes a big hit, what do? I mean, are they going to call in loans and say, you know what, your collateral has gone down under a fair market? Because that's what they do when they do margin calls. If your collateral goes down too low. Now, I don't know fully how they're going to iron this out, because it's not started yet. It's just that they want to. I haven't been able to confirm that this is actually starting on Coinbase. I have a Coinbase account. I don't own any Bitcoin, but I didn't see anything on there that it has actually rolled out. It's kind of going to be interesting. I've told you guys time and time again, yes, I'm not a big fan of Bitcoin. However, I think this is going to be interesting how this plays out. I'm sure this news article has really been what spiked up the Bitcoin prices, because now people are thinking, oh, it's solidifying then, and so on and so on. And they think that there's going to be no end in sight. And Bitcoin did see a recent run up. But a lot of people will tell you that, you know, whenever some good news comes out about anything, whether it be silver, gold, or Bitcoin, then obviously people start wanting to jump in and buy some. So I don't think this is going to end well, especially because as I started looking around, these are just some interesting facts about Bitcoin that I really wanted to start looking up some more information that I had questions on about Bitcoin, like where are the top 10 holders? Who are the top holders? Now, I find it interesting. The top holder, obviously, they have MicroStrategy. And then they go through, and I mean, there's not even, when you look at all the top 10 right here, that's not even 1 million coins. And then I'm like, well, where's all the rest of the coins? And where is Satoshi? And so I started wondering, I started looking around, and I'm like, well, what about locked up wallets? This was, I found this, one major reason they've lost access to their accounts. In fact, more than 100 billion in Bitcoin is estimated to be lost, but some is recoverable. It says at least one firm. A 2023 report, Unchained Capital Bitcoin Financial Services Company estimated that up to 3.8 million Bitcoin have been lost already. Now, that's pretty easy when you think about it, because a lot of people, they don't share their passcodes. There's no one to complain to. You know, you lose your debit card or your account gets hacked or something happens. In the banking world, in the real world today, you actually can call someone, you can complain, they can track down where that money went, who it went to, and so on and so on. But that's why you see so many scams out there when it comes to cryptocurrencies. And to think that there's already been 3.8 million coins lost forever. And I'm like, okay, but that's still not the 21 million Bitcoin that's out there. Now, I went on further to see, where is it? How many Bitcoin is there? I wanted to know that. I can hear my phone in the other room doing some kind of an emergency alert. I wanted to, oh, and now this one's probably going to start. So I wanted to also take a look at this right here. We've got 19.9 million Bitcoin that have already been mined. Obviously, the other 1.06 has not been mined yet, but it will come out over the long term through the blockchain mining rewards. But there's still a lot of Bitcoin unaccounted for. And then I ended up finding out that Satoshi is estimated between 750,000 and 1.1 million Bitcoin, but still nowhere near the numbers. And as I looked around, it was just insane to see how little of the actual Bitcoin gets transferred from day to day. I mean, it's just key players, it seems like, that's holding it, and a small handful of people that are literally buying the dips and selling the spikes right off the bat and just slowly taking money out. But it does create essentially a casino, and I've always said that about cryptocurrencies, that it creates a casino effect. That's not the same with silver. Silver is actually getting used up. Silver is getting bought up, yes, by some of us that are, I don't want to say speculating, but I mean, you could call it that. Those of us that stack precious metals, we are speculating that it will go higher. We're basing that off of the debasement of money, that we used fiat currency. And so a lot of us choose to put away silver, maybe gold in some cases. I've had a lot of debates recently about silver and gold. It amazes me how many people prefer gold over silver. I would say it's kind of split. And I got to say, whether or not you're in gold or silver, you're probably going to do okay regardless. And so when you think about that, it really doesn't matter. However, like I said in yesterday's video, I'm not going just to be okay. I want to end up accelerate. I want to be there to catch when silver really does spike. Because here's the thing. When gold spikes and silver spikes a lot more on a higher percentage. And when gold comes down, silver comes down at a faster percentage. And so once you understand that, if you're patient and you get into silver now, and then you're ready when it does spike, and then you move it into gold. Now, I had someone tell me, who in their right mind is going to want to trade an ounce of gold for 20 ounces of silver? How many people are going to be able to afford an ounce of gold down the road when the price is really spiking? Let's just estimate for a minute. Let's say silver goes up to, I don't know, $100. And let's say gold goes up to $5,000. I mean, you've got silver more than tripling, and then you've got gold not even quite doubling. How many people are going to want to shell out $5,000 for an ounce of gold? How many people are going to want to shell out $100 for an ounce of silver? $100 is doable. Is it painful? Some people would say it is, but I mean, you go out to eat for a good meal, you and your girlfriend, you and your significant other, your wife, whatever, there's a chance you're going to spend close to $100 if you're going out for a nice evening, steak dinners, maybe a movie. I mean, you're going to easily be out $100. So there's going to be a lot of people out there that are going to want to be willing to put $100 or whatever into an ounce of silver. So now, obviously, I know right off, if silver is $100 and gold is $5,000, well, that's technically a 50-to-1 ratio. I'm just using it as examples in the numbers because I don't want someone to say that's not a 20-to-1 ratio. But you have to understand, more people can afford silver. And that will probably be the case for a while because people can still, it's debatable on if people can still afford an ounce of gold. There are people out there that do. I buy one once in a while here and there. Although the last time I bought one, it was $2,300. I have not bought one at $27 yet, nor would I. Have I bought in some 1/10 ounce? I have bought in 1/10 ounce coins, usually around $300 a piece. So you could estimate, well, technically you're paying more than $2,700 an ounce. But at $300, I still think that's a decent deal for 1/10. I've had no trouble selling. Do I look for deals? Of course. If I can find a buying opportunity, every once in a while, someone sends me a message of somewhere where they're doing, $285, $290. Obviously, I'm going to pick up whatever I can when I can. But the fact that there's more coins there, it makes it to where it's easier for me to sell too. So if I had to sell. So with that being said, I'm going to wrap up the video here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said before, if you did enjoy the video, please take a quick minute, hit that thumbs up button for me. Leave me a comment, and I love to hear it. Check out some of our other great videos, and I will see you guys again on T-Square Talk. Take care, everybody, and have a great day. Bye-bye.